Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to another edition of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. As we move forward to the 60th anniversary, we take a look back at the reviews of episodes we haven't covered, and now we're going through the Eccleston series, and now we've caught up to Boomtown. Boomtown stars Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor, featuring Billie Piper as Rose Tyler, and we get to see John Barrowman as Captain Jack Harkness joining into the TARDIS, and the return of Annette Badland as the Slitheen Margaret Blaine. And today we're going to be reviewing that. We have a couple special guests here today, but let me go ahead and bring on the panel, and let's see how they're doing today. Let's go ahead and mute those microphones. And let's go ahead and start off with random. Hang on a second. Oh, take that. Come on. Get that thing off the screen there. We're going to start with Mr. Drew Meyer, our special guest from the Doctor Who podcast, the actual Doctor Who, the Doctor Who podcast. How you doing there, Drew? Thanks for coming on and helping us review today.
I appreciate it. Thank you. There's nothing like a last-minute invite to get you started to talk about some Doctor Who.
And it was a last-minute invite because I just asked Drew, Drew, I'm going to be doing an episode of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS like 10 minutes before we begin, and he just said, yes, I'll give it a shot. He saw Boomtown, and then he's going to be giving us his rating just like everybody else as we normally do. And here we are, the entire team out there. Getting a little feedback on Dr. Freedom, so I had to mute his mic for just a moment out there. Speaking of muting his mic, I'll unmute his. No, he's not letting me. Dave, Mr. Chapman, how you doing there? Welcome to
Working on it.
the show,
There we
my
go.
friend. There we go. How you doing, Dave? I know you're
hear me
driving.
better?
Yes.
Not bad. I am. So I'm not actually paying attention to the screen, but I've switched it over to CarPlay, so hopefully it'll fix the echo thing. But yes, I am just outside Indianapolis right now. Gen Con is this weekend, and I will have the wonderful pleasure of hanging out with Mackenzie Floor and Scott Woodward and hopefully a few other Whovians.
Gotcha there. Don't forget to give your comments into the chats and say hello to everybody. Keith Bradbury, if you only visited Who's North America 10 minutes before the show started. Nice. And there's the hashtag.
It's true.
Yes,
you
just drove out of Who North America. How was it?
Just left. Yep.
Gotcha.
It was as fun as it is. If you go back a couple of years, I forget what we reviewed when I was there. But I was able to get in there. I wasn't able to get there last year. I was hoping to do the show from there last year, but we didn't actually. I don't think we actually had a show on that show. But I was able to get there. My plans for the day went a little sideways, which ended up being very good because I was able to make it there and sort of be on the show a little bit.
Dave, your audio just went Dalek for like 3 seconds. It was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I was making the assumption that was intentional.
Yeah, I was thinking Cylon Empire there for a minute. Wait a minute.
Who's that talking? Oh, that's Dr. Freedom himself. How you doing, Brian? Welcome to the show.
Oh, is this working any better now? Or
yes. Yeah,
okay,
I
just had to tweak a couple things, but yeah.
No, that's cool. I love it. Everybody's criticizing Dave's audio. Dave is half Dalek. How you doing there, Brian?
Oh, hanging in there.
Gotcha. Mark Robinson, the Candyman, says Dave sounds like a Dalek. Yes. Well, maybe there's something we really don't know about Dave out there. So just saying. The Reverend Amagon, better known as Rebs, Raves, and Rants on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and also subscribe over at therathole.ca and Dr. Freedom on their YouTube respective channels. Drew Meyer, the Doctor Who podcast. I just have a TARDIS side. How you doing there, Tom?
I was going to do that whole shtick about Pee-wee, but you know it. We know. That's all I can say.
Oh yeah,
the word of the day.
Blades. That's not cool.
Yeah, terrible news. Yeah.
And that came out of nowhere. He was keeping it private for some time, so I was just like, okay, wow. I mean, I wouldn't have expected that to come up. Now we do have Nick Smith over there. I think he's just having a bad connection. Yep. Hey, that's better.
That's the best I've ever looked.
That's such an improvement there, Nick. You just keep it going up with there. So hopefully we'll get Nick out there. So as you know how this all works, and because Drew is only here for the first part of the show, we'll be letting him go first. So gentlemen, starting with Drew, as far as the Boomtown rating, and everybody please give your ratings. And remember, if this is your first time or if you've kind of forgotten how this works, 1 is god-awful, 10 is awesome, best episode, and every number in between, whatever you want to pick out there for Boomtown. So, Drew, give me a number between 1 and 10, and you're going to be starting out, but the lowest number after which is going to be taking over as well. Drew, what would you rate Boomtown? Just give me a number.
Boomtown's an 8. Boomtown's an 8.
Gotcha. Dave, what did you rate Boomtown?
Also an 8.
Also, the Ocho. The Reverend Amagon.
Also an 8.
Thank you.
Wow, my voice changed completely. The Daleks shall destroy you.
Tom, what's your rating, my friend?
Oh, me? Yeah, I've reconsidered. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay. Got it. There's 7 out there. Now, before Nick just gave me the information on him, but hopefully he'll be coming back. But Nick gave it a 7 as well. And of course, being the podcast host, I get to keep my number until the very end of the show, if not into the after party. So, without further ado, I know you're on the time crunch, Drew. So let me go ahead and bring you up over here. You rated it an 8. Tell us about what you think about Boomtown. What was good? What was bad? And what just didn't make the curve for the last 2 points out there, Drew?
It's very difficult to rate anything a 10. I mean, that's saying it's perfect, and
you're like me on that. Yeah,
is very difficult to pull off, right?
Yeah.
I think Boomtown is an exceptionally interesting episode. It's a character piece. It's a study on mortality. It's a study on what kind of rights we have as our individuals, what kind of rights authority has It's,
Mhm.
it's a discussion about death. It's a discussion about consequences. It is a discussion about second chances. There's a lot. It's a heavy episode. And most of that is in the last third act. And the rest of it is sort of a kind of a campy romp in the beginning, a discussion about friendship and what it's like to have a TARDIS team and what it's like to be left out of the TARDIS team in the case of Mickey. It's an important part in Mickey and Rose's relationship. Now, I'm probably forgetting some more stuff because it's been over a year since I've watched it, but I always like coming back to Boomtown. And I also really like the Slitheen as individual characters. And I know that's maybe not the most popular opinion, but it's something I really enjoy. So this is one of the ones from the Eccleston era that I like to come back and revisit quite a bit.
Gotcha down there. What do you think about comparatively to Eccleston's entire run as all the episodes, Dalek, World War III, and going back to those two episodes like World War III and what was it?
Dr. Dances.
Aliens in London. Aliens in London. How would you rate it next to those two episodes out there?
Well, I think it's a much better episode. I think both Aliens in London and World War III, because they were part of the original first block of recording, Doctor Who hadn't really found its feet. They weren't really sure what the Doctor was going to be like. They weren't really sure how the show was going to progress. There's some missteps in those. I do believe that Slitheen are a lot more horrifying than we generally give them credit for. And I think maybe some of that horror is good to balance. The humor is there to balance that horror out. But compared to the rest of the run, I mean, Boomtown's really high up there. There's a couple more episodes that I would rate higher, maybe 9s, maybe even 10s. But for a first run, going back and watching that first RTD series with Eccleston, I mean, I think it's better than we have any right to have been after such a long break between the Wilderness years. So it's good stuff, and I think if you haven't gotten a chance to go back and rewatch it, it's certainly worth a rewatch.
I think it's a fun episode, especially comparatively when you've had Aliens of London and World War III, and they were ultra campy. This is where it was just being RTD, just letting it just all out, and not that whoever made that noise. Shut up, Tom. Yeah, just letting it all out there. But it led up to this particular episode, and I think the fun part about it is I've picked a really bad picture of her. Is Annette Badland. Well, I bet she made that. Look, I can't help it, but we got to focus now on one of the Raxacorical Thalapatorians, especially in the Slitheen. I can't say Slitheen, but I can say Raxacorical Thalapatorius. Is there something wrong here? But we got
no, I think that's perfectly right.
One. Yeah, and then we got to not only that, but we got to feel more about her because we didn't have that advantage in the other story. We now know that they are a family off that planet, Raxacorical Thalapatorius. And even people get it confused. They always say it's a Slitheen. The Slitheen was the family, but they're Raxacorical Thalapatorian, and she's part of the Slitheen family. But now we get to see more of a backstory to her that we weren't getting in the first two because it was a romp, fun, campy thing. These were the bad guys. They farted. That's how they got around. And this is, now we have that emotional moment in the bathroom where, she meets the woman she was about to kill, and then all of a sudden she's like, well, no, I can't kill her because of reasons. And that later would be used by the Ninth Doctor in that little dinner scene that they had together out there. And we're probably going to explore that more. But Drew, I know you're on a time crunch, so did you have any last words? And please go ahead and plug your podcast out there before we go to commercial break.
I mean, listen, that dinner scene, highlight of that first era. You talked about how it kind of compares to Eccleston's other performances. This is Hartnell getting a chance to stretch his comedy roots. Like Eccleston is funnier and more fierce in that two-hander than he is almost in the rest of the series without going overboard. I mean, I think it's the two of them. You get two actors, real quality, hit the right note. And that's the scene that I feel like a lot of people remember about this episode more than anything else, and rightly so. I think it's probably the highlight of this episode. But like I said, I haven't seen it in a little bit. kind of want to go back and see it. So that might be on this weekend's viewing. So I appreciate your at least drawing my attention or reminding me how good of an episode it is. If you want to hear my opinions on the two-parter, the Aliens in London and World War III, I did an episode on that a couple of years back on the DWP, the Doctor Who podcast. I couldn't tell you the exact number because I don't remember numbers very well. But there is one out there if you search for it. Also, if you want to check out Who and Company, it's another Doctor Who podcast I do with Brent Johnson. So I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to chat with you folks. I really wish I could have more of a conversation with you, but I can hear.
Well, Drew, you're always welcome back. I appreciate you coming on, and thank you for this last minute. There's a reason why Drew and I are kind of on talking about things because, and I will discuss this in the after party, but there's such a thing as Doctor Who Podcast Day. We're slowly finding out about this, and we'll give you more information about that because everything's going to be taking place next week, and I'll explain it in the after party. So stick around. We'll be talking about that. But Drew, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to the Doctor Who podcast. And what was the other podcast? I'm sorry.
Who and Company.
Who and Company. So make sure you're subscribing to them as well as here at The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We got a commercial break. Drew, thank you so much. When we return, we'll continue our discussion. Boomtown, don't forget to put your ratings into the chat. When we please stay logged on, tuned in, and come back. Be part of the legend.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. I am here with the team reviewing Boomtown, starring Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor, Billie Piper as Rose Tyler, and Annette Badland as Margaret Blaine, the Slitheen. So thank you for joining us and welcome back. I want to thank Drew Meyer from the Doctor Who podcast. Make sure you're subscribing to him as well. We're having a technical issue with Dave. He'll be back. I think he's in the chats too. I think he mentioned that he'll be back out there. Again, we're starting with our lowest number. Drew just had to run, but we want to thank Drew for coming on out there. Our lowest number is a 2-way tie. So I'm going to flip something. But I'm broke, so I don't have anything to flip. So, without further ado, two of us have rated it a 7, but one of them is going to be Nick Smith. So, Nick, you rated it a 7. Tell us what happened, where could have gone better, what did you like, Lazarus?
Oh my goodness! I've really been looking forward to doing this show. You guys have been hyping up Boomtown so much. It had been a while since I'd seen it. Not even bad internet in Beaufort, South Carolina, or Dave the Dalek could stop me from being on this episode to talk about it. It has so many good points. I love the references to previous episodes, like the Rift. Future episodes, we see the heart of the TARDIS. That's going to lead on to the next story. But I also like the quiet episodes in Doctor Who. I like it when two characters can sit down, two actors can really kind of work against each other. And also I love to see the TARDIS team just having a party, going and playing as they do. They play tourist in this story. So all those things are wonderful. But they do set up a dilemma for the Doctor, which is not solved. And that's the big reason why I'm giving it a 7. Is he a killer, as the Dalek in Dalek said he was? Is there a way for him to redeem the bad guy, the Slitheen? We never really find out. It's kind of a cop-out at the end. He doesn't get to make that decision. He just takes an egg home instead. So it's not perfect. It's not polished. I love the title too. I mean, Boomtown. Cardiff was a boomtown at the time. It was booming. It was literally growing, and it was a very exciting place to be. But also, it could possibly go boom in this story. But yeah, lots to love, a little bit not to love. So I can't give it a higher number than 7.
Aside from the dinner scene between Margaret and the Ninth Doctor, what else do you pull out of this episode that you really liked out there?
I do like the soap opera aspects too. I do like Mickey and Rose kind of figuring out what they mean to each other. I like Captain Jack, really kind of planting his boots in our minds, if that makes sense.
Right. And this is his first flight in the TARDIS that we know about.
Exactly. And he is just so happy to be there. They're all happy. They're all having a great adventure apart from Mickey, who's the tin dog. I think that balance is really good between soap opera and, our more kind of sci-fi Doctor Who that we're used to. And that's definitely kind of setting things up for the future, all the way through the 13th Doctor's episodes, where we have slices of life in England and also high space opera as well.
Gotcha.
It works.
It does. Like you said, it was a redeeming factor against the other 2 episodes where we were just kind of tossed in. Here are the bad guys, here are the baddies, and they make noise. And and they, how they get out of their skin suits, and now we get to focus on Margaret's side of things.
Another thing I wanted to mention is when Margaret is listening to the reporter, and the report, kind of feeling sorry for the reporter, the camera lingers on this Slitheen, and it looks really good. The suit, the slime, the scales, whatever Slitheens have, the camera could give us a chance to pick it apart, but the costume really works, the alien really works, and it definitely it gives us it gives the Slitheens a second chance. The Slitheen's really creepy at the beginning, before the opening credits. That's a monster.
Yeah.
So this all helps, but kind of disappointing at the end.
Gotcha out there. Tom. No, wait, sorry. Nick, you were one of the 7s. Brian, you were the other.
Yeah, I did it. It was my fault.
Tell us.
Now, one of the key, most amazing parts of this episode, and a friend of mine named Steven, who lives in that area, will tell you, is the fact they managed to find a couple of days in Cardiff where it wasn't raining. But yeah, he always complains about the rain over there, so that's him. But but yeah, I agree. Yeah, the end was kind of a cop out, and where instead of making the decision, now she's an egg, we'll take back her egg, we'll just dump her, in the rookery with the rest and see how things turn out. Did she learn anything from it? We're never going to know, because actually she might not even know either. She's a baby again. But like I said, other than that, it wasn't a bad episode, really. It wasn't like tremendously horrible or anything like that. The scenes between, Eccleston and Annette Badland were brilliant, especially the dinner scene. And I did like the chase scene, with the teleporter, the Sonic. That was kind of a nifty use of the Sonic for a change, kind of a little bit amusing. But at the same time, then we went down the soap opera road, where I was halfway expecting to hear violin music start playing when Mickey and oh god, I just blanked out when Mickey and Rose are going at it. I'm like, at the same time though, I can't really damn the scene, because it does tie into what happens to the people who get left behind. How are they left feeling? This guy has to feel, heck, he was looking at murder charges for her there, for crying out loud, for a while. And so, you can tell he's really devoted to her, but at the same time, she's like not really sure where the bear sits, as we say on here. So that was nice. But the main reason I gave it as low as a 7, I was never a big fan of the Slitheen. I just never really got into them. They kind of look like what would happen if you genetically combined a super mutant from Fallout 4 with a Cupid doll. I'm not kidding. Look at the face. I'm not kidding. It looks like a demented baby doll with claws coming at you. It really does. So I was just never a huge fan of the Slitheen to begin with. But like I said, I can't really rate it lower than 7, because it's still got great performances and a good story.
It is. It really had to live up to another reputation that was really hard to kind of quelch, because it had those 2 episodes that just kind of made the Slitheen a joke. We still had a little bit of high terror. They could really, do some damage. They could cut up some people, and they wore skin suits so they could actually blend in with the human race, aside from, gaseous anomalies every now and then. But to actually have an episode later where we take one of the Slitheen out, and, she's kind of stuck here dealing with what's going on, and then, having run for mayor of Cardiff and have taken over things, what would be the natural progression of what she would do next? She does what she naturally does, is manipulate, take over, and do stuff. That's why she Bleidruth, and this is, I think, one of the interesting parts, is because the Doctor sees Bad Wolf for the first time, and is taking it seriously now. He keeps seeing Bleidruth now, and he keeps seeing those 2 words, and then he just blows them off like they're nothing out there. So Dave should be coming back very shortly out there, and I'm just Tom. Let's go over for you, my friend. We know what, Tom. Hang tight. Let me go into the chats. I know we've had a few chats over there, and don't forget, Melanie and Dave are not here, so I'm going to be taking over your chat. So good luck to me out there. Let's go ahead and say hi to everybody out there. The Candy Man, of course, Andrew Morris. Thank you for joining us. Faith's in the chats out there. Thank you out there. And everybody's criticizing Dave for his Dalek impersonation out there. Mark gave it a 4 to 5. He really tried really hard. Mark, if you can tell us why, please let us know out there what's going on. Andrew Morris jumps in and says, I think Boomtown redeemed the silliness of the previous Slitheen episodes. It's built the TARDIS team and have a very profound Doctor Who spirit behind it. Mm-hmm. One of the things you had mentioned, Brian, the things that were left behind and stuff like that. At this point, I was still not really caring for Mickey. I kind of like, get him out of here. I mean, they brought him in to bring him into the TARDIS team. I did like that little interaction with, with John Barrowman, with the ever type deal. But I kept on thinking he's part of the team, but he's really not. It's just Jack and Rose, because they're the ones who are traveling through time, and he just kind of pops in every now and then. It was the same thing. I felt that with the build up with Rory. Rory, was kind of didn't want to accept this world, was trying to reject the Doctor, and in the end, he became a badass, just as Mickey did. And Mickey ends up getting married to Martha, or as far as we know, he still is. So, guys, if you are still in the chats, please, whatever you think about it, please let us know. Give us your ratings. Mark Robinson says, Nick, I guess it's exciting. It's an exciting episode out there. Ramona says 8, enjoyable story, funny and camp. Do you think it toned the campness down, or you still think it was enough, or do you think they went extreme with the campness?
Let me see. Yeah, that's a good question, because it was a bit campy with some of the scenes with them in the TARDIS and whatnot, but at the same time, it didn't get, it wasn't like the Scooby-Doo chase in Love and Monsters. It didn't go that far, but at the same time, it's like, can't really, tear down on the campiness, because they're obviously excited. I still can't figure out why the TARDIS needs to refuel, but I guess it was for the sake of the plot. But
it was.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was also to bring attention to Torchwood, because there's the rift, there's the whole place. So it was kind of like foreshadowing what was going to be eventually happening to Captain Jack Harkness. What did you think of him as a character? Now he's developing. Now he's out of the London thing, and he's now a traveler prime now in this episode. This is like one of his first trips out. Do you think he added to it, or do you think he took away from it? I love the thing where he says, buy me dinner first. That scene out there. I mean, he pulls the campiness, but it's not too much where it's just intolerable. I think he adds a bit of flavor that Rose and Nine needed to just make things more exciting. And I think that's coming in testament to John Barrowman adding stuff to it.
Yeah, I love the way they bounced off each other there in the beginning, especially, the way they've become so, fond of each other and familiar in such a short time. They just really work well together. I especially love the way he reacted to Mickey. And of course, they have that same reaction way later on, of course, as we all know, when they meet again, Dr. Beefcake Cheese or whatever.
Dr. Cheesecake? No, what was it?
Beefcake?
Captain Cheesecake or something
Captain
like that.
Cheesecake, yeah. So remember, this was early days for Jack, but at the same time, we've seen him go from just being this character who is a con man to, becoming a friend, companion, and, seemingly a pretty all-around nice guy at this point. So really early in his evolution, because as we saw later, Jack does have his own past and quite an interesting dark side, as we learn in Torchwood. So, yeah.
I will never get it. It just is seared into my brain. Those 3 words, they were gifts. And if anybody knows about Children of Earth, that's when I just kind of lost myself with. I didn't like. Wow, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I mean, like, really, he did like the most meanest thing I can think of as far as. I couldn't take it at first, and that was a cliffhanger, and I was like, "Damn it, why?"
Yeah. Also, in the episode with the fairies, okay, I can't remember the title. Save my life right now, but you all know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Where he let them take the child, because it was either let them take the child or they were gonna wipe out the planet. And everybody's walking by him, disgusted with him for what he did. But at the same time, we all know there was really no choice in that matter. But then, of course, we found out later he also handed out kids before to save the planet.
Right.
So
and then he makes the ultimate act for his own grandson. I'm just like,
oh yeah, that scene still has me in tears now every time I watch it. It really does. It was so terribly moving. Oh man.
Ramona says, not Jack's first time in the TARDIS. First time was in the that's what I meant. But this is the first time he's traveling with them. He's still not a true companion as of yet. He finally gets in after his ship is blown up, and he ends up being a TARDIS. So this is the first time in his outing that he's flown in the TARDIS, and he ends up in Cardiff. First time was the Dr. Dances introducing him to the Time Agency. That's we're starting to get a little backstory on him and such, to where it's eventually when we start reviewing the other episodes when we get to it. later on in the series.
My son Sam pointed out to me that Captain Jack is also frozen underground during this story because he's gone back in time, put himself in suspended animation. So there's actually 2 Jacks. We just see
That's
one.
true. Keeping them underground out there. Brian, I kind of think of Captain Jack when thinking of a character as the same thing as Harry Sullivan. That he kind of he does things that the Doctor can't do, if that makes sense. It's kind of like he's the action guy. You're on mute there, Brian, but I just wanted your take on that he's kind of his Harry Sullivan. And plus, when the Doctor can't shoot or do stuff, in the same essence, Ace, where I forget that one thing. I think it was Silver Nemesis, and the Doctor goes to Ace and goes, I don't think you. I just want to make sure you didn't bring that Nitro 9 with you. And then she says, I'm a good girl. And he goes, okay, yeah. Blow up that ship. He has companions that I think he just kind of goes, I know you're going to. I've gotten you because I knew you. Not Harry Sullivan. Gosh, Ian Chesterton.
Yeah.
Ian Chesterton from the first Doctor. Well, kind of Harry Sullivan and stuff.
Yeah, it's just Harry. He was, such an innocent is the best way I can describe him. He's, he didn't have, he wasn't dumb in any way. He was a very intelligent man, doctor, and all that. But like I said, he just, wasn't, shall we say, space wise or street wise, we would say. Very, very clever, but little common sense in some cases. But Ian Chesterton, of course, I loved Ian, of course, because he was not on par with the Doctor, but like I said, he was, I don't know, maybe in a social way, he could fence with him. He could, they foiled at each other quite a bit. And in a way, Jack and this Doctor, they tend to mesh more than they fight, really, though. At least until they're, arguing or something. But like I said, they, so in a way, I could see maybe Ian Chesterton in a bit, because
I always thought the Doctor was the brain and the rest of them were kind of the heart. So when Ian, Susan, and Barbara were there, they were kind of balancing him out a little bit. They added the heart to it, and Ian was, more, like you said, verbally fencing with him when he felt that things were, not right, or if the Doctor crossed a path, and he would do it. And that's why I think the Doctor has companions. As Donna mentioned, you need to find someone because you need somebody to stop you every now and then, or else you're going to go Time Lord victorious on everybody. So I kind of saw it in that realm. And please continue on with your chats and your ratings, 1 through 10, 1 being not so good, 10 being awesome, and anything in between. Mark, if you can elaborate as to why you picked 4 and 5, because I'm really interested. I think I know why. And everybody else in the chats, we're going to go to the commercial break. When we return, Dave should be coming back, and we're going to go with Tom and his pick. When we return, please continue to stay logged on and tune in. We will be right back.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Famous faces and funnies in Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Hi, my name is Jamie Engel, critically acclaimed author of The Toilet Papers, Places to Go While You Go, a short story collection suited to match your bathroom needs. Only have to go a little? No problem. I've got stories under 1,000 words for you. Far from poopin'? I've got you covered, with stories over 5,000 words to keep you occupied, while your latrine stays occupied. And that's not all. The Toilet Papers is endorsed by the fine folks from Squatty Potty, the stool for better stools. But don't take my word for it. See what Dookie the Squatty Potty unicorn has to say on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Well, I've got to go, but you can grab your copy of The Toilet Papers on Amazon in ebook or print, or get an autographed copy from me at therightangle.com. And don't worry, I promise I'll wash my hands first. The Toilet Papers. You might just stay in the bathroom longer than you need to.
I don't know if it's exactly true, but I think that's the first commercial ever I've seen anybody sitting on the toilet.
Yeah.
and doing that. Also, if you haven't, we want to congratulate Jamie Engel for writing her first movie, Just Jake. We're going to hopefully get more information about that and its premiere. We'll be letting you know very shortly when you can see it for yourself. So we want to congratulate her on her first full-length movie. She wrote it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We're just wrapping up our review of Boomtown, and in the after party we'll be talking about Doctor Who Podcast Day. And what's that about? So we also want to thank everybody for subscribing. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to our Facebook page. We've kicked it up a notch. You know, I shouldn't play Doctor Who Worlds Apart and then go on a show. This is why it's such a slow... we finally reached 71,000 subscribers, and we are very appreciative of everybody who's taking care of us out there. 71,000. I can't even imagine that. Right? I would love to see every one of you, but you're all over the place. So we're hoping to have, you know, we're going to kick it up 80,000. Hey, make it 100,000 just for giggles. So we're very thankful about that, and for subscribing to all of our content wherever you can. Right now, you can subscribe youtube.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and of course, you can listen to us on your favorite podcasts out there. Next up is Tom, the Reverend Amagon. You rated it an 8.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I won't spoil it too much, but that is our highest number. We're practically consistent between 7 and 8. I think that's the tightest we've ever been on an episode, which is Boomtown. So, Tom,
it's very tweaked.
What's up? What's up with Gibbs? Why'd you rate it an
8? Well, I didn't want to give anything a 10. I mean, I liked it, but it has to be very special for me to maybe a 10. And I love a good soap opera. I mean, that's how I grew up, is watching soap operas, and The Price is Right. So it didn't bother me, everything going on here and there. The idea of, oh, hey, Mickey, hey, let's go get a hotel room. Know what I mean? Nudge, nudge. But then to say that he said it's wrong. It's like, no, let's find a hotel room and shag away.
Okay, this is a kid's show. You know that, right?
Yeah. Let's just say wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for bringing us back to reality.
I mean, this generation knows things that we still had. What did you just say? But when it gets I knocked it down because it gets the point. It's the drum. It's a soap opera part. Like, well, I'm seeing someone else, but I don't really like her. That's why I bend over backwards and do anything you want me to do, because expecting you to come back to me is like, whoa, that's soap opera thing. A little beeping at me. What the? The microwave's going off.
Mickey's a simp. It's the best way I can put it.
That's reason. And the first time Doctor says, Mickey the idiot. Always have him say Ricky, but this is the first we get Mickey the idiot, which blends over to the 10th Doctor constantly saying Mickey the idiot. But the working together, the being the third in the Slitheen storylines, I liked it. It gave more insight to bad people can do some good things to make them sleep at night. That's a sad reality, but it's true. Things that we know is going to happen in the future. The whole, why did the TARDIS need a recharge? Well, it's to set up everything. The cop out at the end with the egg things. Yeah, Doctor didn't have to do it, but that leads us to the last 2 episodes of the series. Will he actually do something? So I was like, well, I'm not showing it here because we're going to give it away. But you know what? Because I did watch this yesterday, but I always have to watch the shows the day before or day of before we do the review so I can remember it. I just remember bits and pieces of the next episode and what's coming next. But, normally I would give it a 9, but, I had to drop it down to 8 just for that little things of Mickey.
So the relationship between Rose and Mickey and their they're off and on, for a better term, romance is what knocked it down?
Yeah, it's too much Big Brother, all this sappiness kind of thing. It's just a relationship thing. I don't want to talk about relationships.
Okay.
But it just brought back the insides. Okay, it got into my head. You have to think, that was the reason. Everything else, for me, it flowed perfectly. We see all these little, I like this, I like that, campiness, this sci-fi, the horror. So that was basically it. It was the emotional relationship which tugs at my heartstrings. That's what made me brought it down to an 8.
So you'd rather not even Mickey be in the episode, or am I mistaken?
It had to be done because say, oh, everything's so I'll do anything for you. Yes, I don't want to lose you, but you're already seeing someone, and you're kind of like saying, oh yeah, I'm seeing someone, even though I did say that we should go to the hotel room and wibbly wobbly wiggity wiggity, all that stuff.
So less thirsty is what you're looking for.
There's a little bit too close for comfort with Ted Knight and Jim J. Bullock kind of thing. Okay, just pull a Gen X thing right there.
I can actually appreciate that because I used to watch that show. Anyway,
Yep.
Andrew Morris says 7.5 out of 10 for me. Does a solid job exploring the Doctor's morality, and I think that was what's one of the coolest things. We keep coming back to that dinner scene, and my favorite moment is those two superior powerhouses. When Margaret tells him, I could have killed her, but I didn't. And the reaction of the Doctor is quite interesting when he tells her, it just happens because on a whim you just decide not to, or or she was smiling, or the wind was blowing the right way, and she just snaps back and said, only a killer would know that. I'm like, ouch. So is the Doctor a killer?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've established that one.
Yeah, because at this point, remember, this is before all this got reversed. So as far as the Doctor knows, he's wiped out 2 species at once, his own and the Daleks.
Right.
He just came off genocide twice over. That's why I really love that look on his face when she throws that back at him, that dark, sinister eyes looking at her like, only a killer would know that. And he's like, that penetrating stare. Eccleston's just so good at that. He's really captured a moment.
Do you think she was razzing him, or she think she was being candid, or do you think both?
Well, one of the things we know about the Slitheen is they're darn good con people, and con people know how to read people.
That's true.
And I think she was reading it just by his mannerisms, his behavior, and the way he was speaking to her, that, she knows he hasn't been exactly a goody two shoes himself.
Right.
So I think she just read it out of the way he acts and the way he behaves in his body language. and just really turned it on him.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes over there, especially it actually had a little bit of campiness going on. It's as if she had poison out of the mouth, and it's the only time I think I've seen anybody defeat an enemy with Banaka. I think that's the only time I've seen it. And did you know that out of her finger she can launch a poison dart or something like that? Yes. He just grabs it and goes, "Yep." And apparently he's not a vegetarian anymore, because this is the first time ever I heard him mention fish and tips. So that whole Two Doctors thing is gone. He's eating.
The steak looks good. Steak and chips.
Steak and chips. I'm just like, oh, he's not a vegetarian anymore. That kind of went off the way. I'm sure you lost that earlier. But Dave, how would you rate this episode? You rated it an 8.
I did indeed. So. Those who have been paying attention know I've been rather, harsh with my ratings for most of Eccleston's season.
Yeah.
Not really a big fan. But this one I like. This one I would probably put at maybe like my second favorite.
Out of the Eccleston series.
Out of the Ecclestons, yeah.
Okay.
After End of the World, which I absolutely adore. For similar reasons, though, because it has a good, it does explore the serious issues and some of that darkness. It keeps things light. The banter is there, except when it's the four of them. At the beginning, all the banter, like with Team TARDIS, there was felt a little wooden to me, which is weird because they're all really good. But as was pointed out earlier, this was really early in the filming process, so I don't think they quite gelled. And so some of that witty banter just didn't come across quite as sharp as I think it could have, and I think would later. But other than that, it's a great episode, kind of all around. And again, the Slitheen are much better. Like there's no actual fart jokes. There's a little bit of tummy rumbling and whatnot, but that side of things has been gone. It has some good callbacks to earlier in the season. It has some good callbacks to
what was that? Brian, what was that? Your mic's off, but okay, fine. Nice. For those of you listening, I think what was that?
Ozium.
Ozium.
Yeah, it's air sanitizer.
Nice.
Every Slitheen should have some.
Yes.
Very tasty. Just hang one of those taxi cab fresheners around their neck. There you go. Or what's that thing that opens up like an egg? Literally like an egg, and it has a
That's the end of the show.
Sit on the side. What's that?
That's the end of the show.
Yeah.
All I could think of when I turned this on while I was on the road before I was sure I could come on to the show. I still put it on kind of in the background in the car, so I was more listening. I wasn't really watching.
Right.
Safety driving. But I watched it a few weeks ago before I left on this trip, on the theory that I would probably end up having to talk about it. And one thing that always sticks in my head with that egg is I just want somebody to Photoshop in that egg opening up and a pink, Slitheen coming out, looking all creepy ET-ish, going, "Not the mama."
Nice.
That's all I want. Come on, Disney. Come on, Disney. Get on it.
Yep.
Oh, you mean this guy?
There you go. There's your
baby. I love me.
And that's the call. That's the 15th Doctor going back and meeting her again.
Oh, there he is, Mr. Erie, Florida. I know he and Melanie were covering from Tampa Bay Comic-Con. Almost redeemed the Slitheen. Sarah Jane Adventure did it better later. Of all this, a 7 out of 10. And I'm not exactly sure where this comic. Kevin Smith knocks out a demon in Dogma just a couple of years before. Okay, gotcha.
Dogma was a great movie. I love it.
Yes.
I love that one.
Was it? It's just Alan Rickman just saying, "Did you really have to use the whole can?" That was
not only a woman, but
wonderful line that he had to say. And then she retorts, going like, "Who are you?" And he goes, "I'm pissed off. That's why."
No wonder you're single.
I'm just like standard Alan Rickman. He's supposed to be this prompt, nice look angel, and then just crap's happening all over him, and he has to deal with it. And he's just like, "Oh, the apostle." So Mark Muncy continues, almost redeemed the Slitheen, then Sarah Jane Adventures really did. Oh, okay, he typed this in YouTube. And Craig Boot, hello, hi there, you doing? I'm so lucky living in the UK to be able to see Doctor Who whenever on BBC and BBC iPlayer. Lucky you. I'm guessing with Doctor Who. Hey, I'm still grateful for Pluto TV, so, and my DVDs who are being on. Guessing with Doctor Who being on now on Disney Plus opens it to a brand new and huge worldwide audience. Yeah, and it brings it to a younger audience as well. So this is going to be an interesting take to see how things ride out on Disney Plus. But it is Disney Plus, so all fingers are exactly. Owner for the mouse out there.
Mickey.
So, I guess I will take a chance on that. But before we do, I have a question for I'm calling it the Mulligan or the MacGuffin for the scene of the heart of the TARDIS, which Margaret does. Do you think that was just a little way on the campy side, or do you think that was a good device? Because later on it would come in handy in the final part of the series, which was foreshadowing, but I was just like, really? Is this how we're going to take her down?
I think that's the main reason why they did it. Was a big, fat, healthy dose of foreshadowing to show you that this is going to become something that's going to happen later. That way, when they spring it, in that final episode, it's not going to be a big surprise. You're going to know that this, can happen. So, yeah, that way I can see why they did that.
Okay.
And the Doctor says he doesn't know how someone could handle this kind of power, this energy.
Tom, shut up.
That was not me.
Shut up.
Hey, don't get technical.
The only other thing that kind of just threw me off was, and this is not her fault, they tried her best, was just Annette holding, you could see like she's holding a prosthetic in her hand. It's not even connected. It's just like you can see her arm just being shoved in there. It's just like to.
That's why it was set in the darkness, because this is just a publicity shot. Say, oh look, I'm holding on the arm. That's why it's so dark. It's like, wait a minute, I can't see anything. And so the brightness of the heart of the TARDIS comes through, like foreshadow.
Do you think the props department could have like ripped the jacket a little bit and put it around her arm or something?
No, they might have to reuse it for something.
That's true.
Maybe use it for EastEnders or something like that.
Reuse or recycle.
Yep.
Gotta love it.
But I did think popping the arms out was a good way to show, for us to continue to see her human face and all the reactions and expressions, but still have the horrible alienness.
No, I totally get what they were trying to do with this scene. It's just like you can tell she just shoved her arm in the prosthetic. That's how we're going to deal with this scene. Just like, okay, we just didn't really have the budget for that particular moment out there. Mark Muncy says watching on YouTube and Facebook to get you. Oh, thank you. I'm good with that. Viewership is always good out there. So yeah, don't forget subscribe. And like on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, 71,000 subscribers on our Facebook page. God, where'd you guys come from? I love you guys. And we're climbing up the subscribe count. I think 3,200 at least at this moment there. Folks, we're going to continue our discussion. We're going to move into the after party. And I'll give you my take on the pretty much is parroting what everybody said, but I do have a few things I wanted to point out. We're going into the after party, but if you haven't already, again, please, right now you get a chance, like and subscribe to youtube.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Also, don't forget to like, share, and comment. That helps the algorithms out there. For those of you who are listening on our audio podcast on iHeartRadio, and for those of you who would like to listen to us on our audio stuff. Sci-fi.radio. You can download the app for free. Odyssey, Spotify, Spreaker, Podbean, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, you can listen to us. But if you want to get all the content, you want to either join us on our YouTube channel or Facebook page. You can join us also on Twitter. And I think that is it. So, folks, we're just going to go in the after party. For those who are watching, you can continue to watch. We'll be discussing Doctor Who Podcast Day. I'll get into that a little bit more, and I'll give you my rating as far as this episode. But when we come back, which will just be in a few seconds, we'll go through all that. And for those of you listening, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back.
No, Christian.
What?
There you go. Now you're not muted.
What? I just figured it out. When I play Worlds Apart, I don't know what it does. It does something to the computer to kind of start lagging it. So I literally have to shut things down and then reboot everything back up so that it doesn't lag as badly as it normally does. But the other day, I think it was either Saturday or Sunday, Mark Robinson and I played Worlds Apart. And we just had a good time. We were trying to figure out all these cards and stuff.
Cool.
But let me see. We got. Oh yeah. Anyone seen the season 20 box set promo?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Pete Mateague knocked it out of the park again, as far as I'm concerned, on the writing for that. Really enjoyed that little bit there.
That was a nice little thing, and I was pleasantly surprised about. I won't get. Everybody knows about it, but if you haven't seen it, Nyssa makes a comeback. Sarah Sutton, and not all as things are as it seems. So yeah, they do. Did you guys want me? We can play that if we have time. We can play that little trailer. Mark Robinson, our Candyman, says, "Do you think the Heart of the TARDIS and the Eye of Harmony are the same thing?"
I was wondering about that. I mean, is this a way for them to kind of bypass that?
Yeah,
it's got a similar vibe to it, but I'm wondering there was enough kind of in the canon with that I'm wondering if they just went, if it didn't start as that and they went no, let's no, we're not doing that, and bumped it to this, which just causes more problems, really.
Yeah, it is kind of weird because originally the Eye Harmony was the black hole that was taken in by Rassilon, put underneath the Panopticon on Gallifrey to power the entire time travel facility and the planet as well. But the other big problem is, though, when they came back in the 96 movie, suddenly the Eye of the Harmony is in the TARDIS.
It was an actual eye.
Yeah, and
it was an actual eye.
Set. A massive, that was the biggest set of the whole thing, including the control room. Was that Eye of Harmony room, and I don't think the BBC wanted to even put the budget into redoing that either.
Exactly, I think that's what it was. Because remember, this was early days, so they're taking a big gamble here with a show that's been off the air for how many years? I think even they were surprised it did so well. So
yeah, I almost definitely.
I think this is how I put it into headcanon, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, because Brian, the Eye of Harmony was supposed to be powering up a planet and all the time machines, and then all of a sudden everybody had their own portable battery in their TARDIS, or at least when we got to the TV movie, the Eye of Harmony. Then the Heart of the TARDIS shows up. I'm thinking if we, in this perspective, the Eye of Harmony is actually the engine, and the Heart of the TARDIS is what's under the console, like what's in your dashboard. That's how I kind of said, because you're right. Remember when the Eye of Harmony showed up twice, even including Journey into the TARDIS, the Eye of Harmony was nowhere near the main room. It was in its separate room by itself. So, and it was an actual black hole, whereas the Eye of Harmony in the TV movie was an actual eye and could hypnotize people. I just really could not. Like, this device has gone completely wonky.
Yeah, so, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah.
Yeah, the canon of the show is always changing in one form or another. So it's like you need a program every year to say, all right, what's what this time? You know,
I'm just saying, stick two things. I mean, the sonic screwdriver. I'm just pulling up a pen, but the sonic screwdriver did that. It was sonic screwdriver, and then all of a sudden, it's a freaking tricorder. And
Yeah.
if not then some, and just like now he's reading it or she's reading it. I'm like, what are you reading? It's just what I don't even see readings on my toys. I'm just like, okay, whatever. So I'm curious about what the 14th Sonic is going to be doing beyond what it normally do, but it's like it's gone a little too far in my opinion out there. Andrew Moore says, I think the Eye of the Harmony is a power source. The TARDIS is the soul of the TARDIS. That's how I saw it.
Or maybe in a way, you know, it's kind of like our first look at, you know, what we would see in the Doctor's wife, the actual soul of the TARDIS, you know, as a being. At least that's the way I like to think of it. That was our first look at what was the character's name?
Idris.
Idris. Maybe this was our first look at Idris, who is the actual soul of the TARDIS versus the power source. So I can see that reasoning right there. That's very good.
No, I'm cool with it, but I'm like with you, Brian. There's got to be some consistency on things, or else it's just what the hell.
Consistency on Doctor Who.
Try, just try once.
That's like telling me that if I find the corner of a round room, I'll become a billionaire. It's never going to happen.
Just try. Not everything is the Eye of Harmony inside a TARDIS.
No,
I know.
The round things are the Eye of Harmony. That thing going up and down is the Eye of Harmony. The scanner is the Eye of Harmony. No.
Well, that's the time rotor.
Oh, there's Melanie.
The thing going up and down, and oh my.
No, it's like, well, this is why I criticize Doctor. It's just like, okay, the Eye of Harmony is like the biggest MacGuffin in there. It's the Mary Sue of Mary Sue's out there. It just all of a sudden it's just everything's the Eye of Harmony. But yeah, you know what? I'll go ahead. Hang on a second. Let me go ahead and pull that up. I will, since we're talking about it. Let me bring up the 20th. A second. 20th anniversary.
I don't know what Kristen's looking for, but that's okay.
I'm looking for the
season 20.
The 20th
trailer.
Yeah.
So all of you viewers out there, are any of you going to be at Gen Con? I am curious, because there's going to be a couple of us running around there, so I'm really quite interested to see who's going to be there.
Where's Gen Con, Dave, and where is it and when?
Gen Con starts later this week, on Thursday, technically, in Indianapolis at the Indiana Convention Center. And there are a medium-sized city's worth of people at the event. A few years back, they expanded into, not moved into, the Lucas Oil Stadium. And that has been getting bigger and bigger in that space as well. And here we go.
All right. For those of you who may not be familiar, this is called Tegan's Surprise Reunion. And this is the Doctor Who The Collection, Season 20. I thought this was awesome. If you haven't seen it yet, by all means, take a look. And again, I can't hear the audio, so everybody just let me know that the audio is working out here. And intro thing.
Yeah. Redo every era. He's changing outfits every era.
She's got a better view than my house.
That's impossible.
Hello, Tegan.
Vissa?
It's been a long time.
Too long. Oh my God. Are you okay?
A little older.
Don't start me. How did you contact me? What are you even doing here?
Looking for you, of course.
But we left you on Terminus.
I hitched a ride. I've got so much to tell you. The doctor wants to see you, too.
Which one? Scarf or celery? Or woman?
Which do you think?
Has he learned to fly that thing yet? I got my pilot's license back in '93. I could teach him a thing or two.
Oh, I've missed this.
Those were the days. I kind of wish I'd realized how lucky I was.
Well, now we've got a second chance. If you're interested.
You bet I am. Vissa? Another trick. I wait in the darkest corners of your mind. Your greatest secret, even from the Doctor. Your one true companion. That was cruel. A tempting scenario in a universe of possibilities. Get out of my head. Waking or dreaming, you cannot escape me. Submit, and I will grant you the reunion you crave. Now, join me.
That's a good question, Hal.
Take my hand and manifest your deepest desires.
Tegan, in another universe, we are together. Tegan, find me, Tegan. Tegan, please find me. Tegan.
Never. Then I will consume you.
Doctor Who, The Collection, Season 20.
All right, I don't know how far I can get into the to the episode, but I was going to go ahead and just run it to the end there. Hang on one second. And you can check out the video for yourself. I'm just going to bring it up to the end. Hold on a second.
You know what I've been through. You've seen it all. You've felt it. And compared to that, you are nothing. You will never get the better of me. So back in your box.
I just love the theme song. I just like this.
Doctor Who, Doctor Who.
And now you can see Davison's celery stick in 4K.
I love the way it warbled a bit at the end there. It was like a bad VHS pirate or something.
I love that Mark Robinson, typical England reigning. Yes. Yeah, we did watch at the very end, Andrea, and that's I love it. It's I figured out the headcanon of the Eye of Harmony exists outside the TARDIS, but was connected via a portal to the TARDIS.
Yes.
So, Roger, hello. When has Doctor... Okay, everybody's giving me the consistent... No, that's what I'm saying. It's never been consistent.
Yep, all I can say is, kids out there, how many Scarrows have you seen today?
How many times has he blown up Scarrow?
Yeah.
But it keeps us fans occupied, trying to tie all these dissolute strands together.
So the Eye of Harmony is now this object, or that object, or this thing. And the Sonic can do this now. The Sonic can extend your car warranty. So what'd you guys think?
Damn.
That is, I Brian, all these episodes of where they're doing, Nick, they're doing these, the series 20, series whatever at that time. Then they play these things during the commercial, like the stories and all of that. I'm actually more interested in following up on Tegan and what happened to her with the Mara, that story, more than I'm kind of going back and getting the 20th season. I'm actually want to follow up with Ace when she, the doctor supposedly knocks on her window with the umbrella, and he comes back. I was like, what are they doing? I was just like, oh my god, I want to see what's going on in the commercial rather than the actual. I've seen those, so now I want to see what they do now.
I know, it's like Pete Matigue, you evil tease.
He's good. I like it.
But the stories are getting more self-contained too. The last couple have really wrapped themselves up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're self-contained. Their stories. I want to say, like, what was the one where the kid finds Perry, and we know that King Akonis has passed away, or at least he's got this huge statue in the middle of the room there, and then Perry invites that kid to the TARDIS to go around. Like, what happened after that? What happened to the kid? I'm actually more interested in that story. Given time to see the clip, yeah, you did. Andrew Morris, if RTD didn't already know there is a huge appetite for seeing older doctors and companions. Well, I mean, just like, it never hurts to even go back and just wrap up a storyline. Turlo became was a leader of his planet. What happened? Did he do a good job? Did he do a bad job? I think that would be great, just the Doctor revisit to see how Turlo is doing. Things like that. Just those little things that you can expand on those universes that kind of just went to the wayside. But that's my opinion on those things.
Wasn't there a line of books from Target that did that? Turlo had his own, and Harry had Harry Sullivan's War. But,
yeah.
I have the old collection. I just,
I know that, but more than just Big Finish, more than the Virgin novels, more an expansion of what we can see on TV now. And I'm thinking with Deep Fake and...
Sorry, that's my fault. I was turning down the volume a bit.
With Deep Fake now, and that we got all these companions are still around, that could probably still do something. My God, they brought in Ian Chesterton. Even though it was for just a minute or two, just for a few glances. They brought him back. I said, why can't we do the others and just see what's going on in Bannerman Road? how everything took off over there. I do kind of like the idea that they made a proposal that Ace should take over the Sarah Jane Adventures and make it her own, and take over Mr. Smith and stuff like that.
I would love that.
Yeah, because you've got so many of the other classic characters who are so willing, to come back, even if it's just for like a one episode thing, and that would be the perfect vehicle for it right there. Sadly, like I said, I feel kind of bad for Sophie Alder, but because originally she was supposed to be coming back in the 5th season of the Sarah Jane Adventures, and sadly Liz Sladen passed away for that came to fruition. Then she was supposed to be in series 2 of Class, and we all know how that worked out.
Right.
And so it's kind of like she got chopped down, then finally Power of the Doctor, hell yeah. So I really wish they would go down that route. I'd love to see Ace back in action, especially now that she's aged a bit, gotten more experience, seems a bit more mature, but not all the way. And I think she'd make an excellent, head for an ensemble cast.
If we don't see more of the companion support group, I'll be very disappointed.
Yeah.
I just remember I don't know why I saw a tweet that somebody was upset. It's a new Whovian, and I don't know why she was upset that they were bringing in classic stuff. And I'm like, why wouldn't you want to see how it all began, how it all started, how it continued, and what made it the special show that it is now today? I mean, it's an add-on and things, and I like that to bring it back, because now people can go, oh, I want to check this out. Now that I've seen Tegan, who's Tegan? What is she? Let me go back and check out her series. Or Ace, let me check out the 7th Doctor series and see what that's all about. Because there's some incredible stuff, and I don't think if you look back, even though it might be, not the same tech and may not be the same great stories, it may not be, everything, it was on a shoestring budget. And when I say shoestring budget, I mean shoestring. When a cliffhanger is a literal cliffhanger of the 7th Doctor hanging on to an umbrella, those type of things. But that was the stuff that we grew up on and saw and appreciated. Without that, there's no way the show could have continued to Ncuti Gatwa today. And the fact that they brought Melanie Bush back, what's going to happen with that? That's going to be awesome. I'm hoping that's one of many things that they'll go back and say, let's take a look at this person and what they're doing and expand on their universe a little bit out there. And speaking of expanding on universes, I'm just going to bring this up. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'll be perfectly honest, I still don't know is the answer. But August 9th, and I'll be letting you know as the days come up, because we still haven't arranged when this is going to be taking place, because Doctor Who Podcast Day, August 9th, there is a little team who have gotten together, and they are assembling what they call Doctor Who Podcast Day and hashtag DWPD, August 9th. Why was that date picked? Because, and you can correct me on this, Brian, the very first episode of any Doctor Who podcast came from a little podcast called Doctor Who Podshock, and they premiered on August 9th, setting the groundwork for everybody that has come across. They were the first ones to do it. So Doctor Who Podshock, thank you. So that's why it's August 9th. Their first episode took place that day, and in celebration, we've had a few people who are helping us celebrate Doctor Who Podcast Day, and people who may not be so happy about Doctor Who Podcast. I love that picture. I want to take that out and put the Traveling TARDIS on. I would love that. The only person who's not appreciative of Doctor Who and on the podcast. And I mean, Brian, you and I are the only ones in this room, I guess we can safely say we have our own Doctor Who podcast. How does it feel to be a podcaster? And then now we got a day to us, which we'll be taking next week.
I don't know. It does feel kind of weird. Makes me feel old now. But, especially when I was sitting back thinking on it, I'm like, I've been watching this show since '83. Then it finally hit me, like, not even like during my birthday. I was like, it's 2023. I've been watching this show for 40 years.
Yes.
Oh, I'm old.
No.
We're just seasoned. We are fine wine when it comes to Doctor Who podcasting. And Roger, the only thing constant, I would even challenge this. The only thing constant about Doctor Who is the sonic screwdriver doesn't open wood or deadbolt locks. Everything else in Sci-Fi show that doesn't need to be consistent. The sonic used to be a screwdriver.
Yeah, it undid screws.
And now it can do almost anything. And and tell me if I'm wrong about this. You remember in the 50th anniversary, the War Doctor scanned the door.
Yeah.
And that process went to a couple hundred years all the way up to the 11th Doctor. So technically it can at least dissolve wood now, right? He did the equation.
I think maybe just that door.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we're going with.
Also, the door turned out to be unlocked anyway. So
that's true. But it's wood. I guess we had to go through all the different types of wood out there. Oak, birch, whatever. Oh my God.
There's more?
Yeah.
Oh. Are you kidding me? I'm still trying to find out how many things of Rassilon there are. You know, you got the harp of Rassilon, the the rod of Rassilon, the key. So actually, the toilet paper of Rassilon. Well, what's next? The reindeer of Rassilon, the Ford Escort of Rassilon. What's next?
The potty squatty of Rassilon.
Yeah.
Did you say toilet paper?
Hi, my name is Jamie Ingle, critically acclaimed author of...
Exactly, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, the Rassilon apparently has everything. The kittens are Rassilon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then there was the throne of... And then there was the throne of Rassilon that would flush things away into the time vortex.
Into the eye of harmony.
What was one from the Seventh Doctor? What wasn't that a part of his body or something? I forgot. In the Dalek episode. Gee, what was it? Was it the heart?
We've got the hand of Omega.
The hand of Omega. So for once there was something that wasn't a Rassilon. It was
They ran out.
But like I said, that's another weird thing, because originally, we were told Time Lords can live pretty much forever, barring illness or injury, according to the Second Doctor. Then we get all the way up to Deadly Assassin, and nope, we can only do it 12 times. What? What? And the whole thing was founded by a guy named Rassilon, not Omega. Wait, what? They did eventually work it out. They did work together now.
The tie clip of Rassilon.
Yeah. The tie clip of Rassilon, yeah.
Oh my God.
Or imagine if he went through an Eddie Van Halen phase. The sixth string of Rassilon. The axe of Rassilon.
No, he's going through his who's the guy from Kiss that does the crown jewels? Gene Simmons. Where he just markets everything.
Yeah.
He said the surfboard of Rassilon. I mean, just the most honest things.
Pan-dimensional surfboard of Rassilon.
Pan-dimensional surfboard of Rassilon. The fire extinguisher of Rassilon. That he just look at.
The sloth of Rassilon.
I mean, what is it this week? Just go to a garage sale, point out something that's the next episode. The coffee mug of Rassilon.
Lead miniatures of Rassilon.
The lead miniatures of Rassilon.
Wow.
Yeah. So, again,
I heard.
Go ahead. No.
I heard that DeLorean had the carburetor of Rassilon.
Hacked it and sold it to him.
What was it? Spaceballs. Everything was Mr. Coffee. Mr. Everything.
Mr. Radar, yeah.
Mr. Radar. Everything was Mr. Yes, Andrew, yes. The slow cooker of Rassilon.
Yeah, the hot air fryer of Rassilon.
That's right. You can cook fries and fish sticks and
control time.
And control time. That's right. And change your tire.
Just beep.
But you're fine. The Doctor's other sonic screwdriver was a screwdriver. I enjoyed the episode because his TARDIS was a hot air balloon.
Here's a flashback for all you rockers of the old age. An album cover you'll never hear. Rassilon built my hot rod. For you old sirs, you know that.
Oh God, we'll be here all day. Mark says. Sure, next week, replace one word from every movie title with Rassilon. You know, I'm going to put that in the Traveling TARDIS Facebook page.
Yeah, if you can name an object of Rassilon.
Exactly. I want the beer. Never mind.
Legend of Traveling Rassilon.
That's right. That's a thing now. So everybody, just want to let you know, next week we will be letting you on as to what we're going to be doing, but it's going to be Doctor Who Podcast Day, August 9th. I think they're working to do an episode on Tuesday, but I'm not be here. We're going to try to do an episode Wednesday, seeing what these folks are doing for us. And I'm not doubting them. I appreciate that anybody who celebrates Doctor Who Podcast, which is what we are. It feels nice that there's some appreciation. We're just waiting for them to tell us what they're doing. So we'll give you more information about that next week. But just to keep in mind, the hashtag DWPD for Doctor Who Podcast. Dr. Freedom's one of them. I'm one of them. And there's a plethora of out there to choose from. Of course, Drew, who was on here earlier, the Doctor Who Podcast, is going to be part of what's going on. So we'll be letting you know as time as we know. So any last words, folks, before we let everybody go tonight and next week? Oh God, Mark's already started it, guys.
Nope.
I'm gonna do it, Mark. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna post this on the Traveling TARDIS Facebook page and replace a word title with Rassilon. I'm done. Anybody got any last words? Check out next films, as well as the hand of Omega.
What about the foot of Omega? What?
Was it the Rassilon mask or the cosmic
Rassilon's
cosmic mask?
Cosmic mask of Rassilon.
Check out Dr. Freedom. He's on a break, but he'll be returning to the parking lot talking about more. What is it? Are you taking a week or two off there?
Yeah, it won't be back to the 14th. So stay tuned the 14th Monday.
Damn it, Dan. Shut up. I'm not doing the chats anymore.
Last round standing.
So Brian will be back on the 15th with his parking lot updates. And the parking lot of Rassilon. Join the rat hole Rassilon.
Wow.
And check out over there on Rebs, Raves, and Rants of Rassilon. It's all the way in the river now.
Rassilon's
All right, I'm done. Let's end this show.
Pony, save
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is gonna be another 3 hours.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Christian, hit the button of Rassilon.
I love Rassilon. Don't forget on the way out. Comment, like, share, subscribe. If you're just watching, catching us on out.
Like Rassilon.
I need the water of Rassilon.
Oh, shut up.
Rassilon. Share Rassilon.
Share Rassilon. Subscribe Rassilon. Tony, take us out.